Hi guys, and welcome back to Chengi's World. I'm so glad you guys are here to join me. For those of you who are new to this channel, welcome to Chengi's World. Please make sure you subscribe, comment, like, share, and don't forget to press the little button so you get notified every time I upload a video. Yeah. So guys, I know you're looking and thinking, girl, you've changed your hair. Yes. I always go a little bit darker at the changing of seasons. So we're about to go into our autumn. So I went for something, I don't think you can quite see it on camera, but a plummy color to the hair. And then when winter hits, I'll probably go jet black, because I just like to, when my hair is light in the winter, it gives my skin a really pale feeling, and I don't like that. So I tend to get darker and darker, and then when springtime comes, it gets lighter and lighter. So enough about hair. You're not here about the hair, are ya? Okie dokie. So today's video is entitled Revenge. I find that what happens with you guys is when you email me or send me your messages, there tends to be a little bit of a trend each week. There tends to be a trend or a feeling or comment that all of you seem to be making. And I usually try to get back to all of, well, I said I can, but it's very difficult for me to get back to you guys each at a time. But I don't want to keep you waiting for a reply. So sometimes you'll find that I will send out a video that would address that issue. And today's issue is revenge, because I hear you guys, you email me and you're like, Chengi, is what he did. And then of course I had this conversation with you, and I let you know that actually he just wasn't into you, he wasn't feeling you like that, and you really should move on. And you feel hurt and disappointed, and then you say to me, I want revenge, I just want revenge. And that is all part of the process. Wanting revenge is a very, very natural human response when somebody does something to you and you realize that actually they were deliberately doing something that would hurt me for selfish gain. So I want my own back. I want the satisfaction of knowing that you are not happy. And when we're feeling bad, why should I feel bad? When you are online with your upgrade, next squeeze, whatever, your new acquisition, you are showing off, you're happy, and I am in here in bed asking myself a million questions. I am killing myself thinking there was something wrong with me. And now I stumbled on Chengi's World channel, and I realized there's nothing wrong with me, and that actually you're a narcissist or a psychopath or just a selfish individual, and you are out there having fun and enjoying yourself and enjoying your freedom. I've tried to text you. I've done the desperate text, which only people who are new to Chengi's World would do, because you guys know that if you come to my world and somebody doesn't want to be with you, you let them go and you just cut them off, because if they can live without you, you can live without them. Okay, so you've sent them the desperate text, you've sent them an angry text, and you've got ha 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 back. You know, some people are that kind of cruel that they've laughed you off, or they've ignored you even more and brandished pictures of their new girl, or whatever they have done in your past. And this video, yes, of course, is about relationships, because you guys write to me about relationships in terms of male female romantic relationships. But at the end of the day, this principle that I want to share with you guys is universal for every situation that happens to us. And what I want to share with you is the reality that revenge is the biggest waste of your time, because you can never do it better than God can. I remember a time in my life where I was thinking to myself, you know what? Oh, I could think of a million things that I could do to you to make you feel just as bad as I do. And I remember hearing God speak to me so clearly. God will not be mocked. Whatever a man sows, that also shall he reap. You don't get to go around sowing seeds of hurt and disappointment and pain in other people's lives, expecting that there won't be a harvest for that. You don't get to sow apple seeds and expect oranges to bloom. There is a law, and a universal law, whether you are Christian like me and believe in God's word, or you are a new, whatever your belief, wherever you're coming from. There are laws that are set in place. And God has set laws in place like every other law, and I've spoken to you guys about this, and it is a spiritual law that anyone who violates it will indeed face the punishment. The problem is, some of us know that, some of us call it karma, some of us say what goes around comes around. It is still a description of that spiritual law. But the problem is, we don't want to wait for that law to take effect, because spiritual laws take time. What we do today and what we do tomorrow, what we plant today often does not reap a harvest until tomorrow. So your sowing today will never show up tomorrow. Just as when a farmer goes out into his fields and puts seeds in the ground, he's not going to wake up and that seed has become corn or wheat or whatever it is. He's going to have to go through a season and maybe another season before he sees a crop come forth. And that's the truth in life. I learned that the truest and best revenge is forgiveness. The truest and best revenge is making a success of yourself and never giving the person who has hurt you the chance to see your tears. Never reward anyone who has deliberately hurt you with the joy of seeing your hurt or your tears. What is intuitive is to go and be a mess and show them how hurt you are and write stuff on your Facebook status that will show everybody how hurt you are so that he can see how hurt you are. He knew you were going to be hurt and he just didn't care. It wasn't important to him. Your hurt was not important to him. So, that in mind, the only thing that you can truly do to revenge is to make something of yourself, make something of your life. Put your shoes on, cry your tears in private with people who genuinely love you. Put your heels on, put your makeup on, and go out there and face the world and make something of yourself. Forgiveness is free, but it's not cheap. It must cost you, the wounded one, something to forgive so that the person you are forgiving can get in return what they deserve. God said, vengeance is not yours, it is mine. And I want to share a story with you about a time in my life where I was homeless and with my child Joshua. We had nowhere to go. We were homeless with nowhere to go. And an aunt of mine took me in. And she was very kind in the beginning. She helped me settle down. I managed to get a job and she was very helpful with Josh. But something changed. And she decided one morning when I was going off to church, getting ready to go off to church, she called me downstairs and sat me down and she said, Chingy, I want you to pack your stuff. I want everything. I want you to pack every single thing that is in that room. And I want you out today, right now. She packed off and went to church. And yes, I know what you're thinking. But she packed off and she went to church and she left her daughter there behind. And her daughter was there to supervise and make sure that I either didn't steal anything or break something in my rage. So her daughter, who would have normally gone to church with her, who was like 4 times my size, decided that she would stay behind and sit in a chair. She knew that I had a 4-year-old son where he had just started school. I asked her for an explanation. She did not give me one. She said she didn't want to talk about it. She just wanted me to pack my stuff and go. In that time that I'd been living with her, all I'd ever done was wake up and clean her house, make sure that there were groceries, spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds buying groceries, going to work, working long shifts, working every shift my boss could afford to give me. I was working so hard because I was trying to rebuild my life and provide something for my son. And I did not want to be in that situation long, so I was doing everything I can. I did not think about men. I did not think about dating. I did not think about anything. My mind was on working on my relationship with God and keeping it from falling apart and working. And I had just, that's all I had. And prior to that, I'd said to her, look, I've saved up enough money to move out. I'm ready to move out. Thank you so much for everything you've done. And she begged me to stay. Don't go. Make sure you sort out your situation first. You're not emotionally ready. And I stayed because really, I just wanted to honor her and not make her feel like, thanks, I'm good now, I'm good to go. So I stayed. And what I did that was foolish is the money I saved up for deposit, I decided, well, if I'm going to be here for another 6 months, I can save that money quite easily. What I'll do is I'll take Josh and I away on holiday so we can get a break from our intense pressure. I was going through the throes of divorce and court cases and all manner of things, and I decided to take Josh away on holiday with that money that I had planned to move out with, which left me with very little left. I had still some money, but very little left for very much. So on that day, with the little I had left, she announced to me, get out of my house, I don't want to talk about it, I've got no explanations, nothing. So I left. And I remember crying my eyes out. Josh just thought it was the best adventure of his life. And, you know, we were out on the streets, and I'll never forget it because it was raining. This was not the first time anything cruel had been done to me. I'd been through so much evil and cruel and horrible people, but it just hurt me so much because I just couldn't understand, how can a human being know what you're going through, be there with you every single day, see that you have a child, without an explanation, kick you out onto the streets? And that was my first impact, truly. With a lot of the things that had happened to me in the past, I could justify, I could understand. There was always some way that I could logically, but this for me was just abundant cruelty. And you know what she said to me? She said, take care of Joshua. Nevertheless, I went. As I was getting into the cab that I'd booked to go to a hotel that I'd booked, and spent all the money on both those services alone, I remember crying and wanting to revenge. I thought, God, what can I do that will hurt her so badly that she will know how bad I am hurting right now? What is it that I can do that can bring this woman the amount of pain that I am enduring right now? And I remember God saying to me, peace, be still. And he said to me, and it was as clear as day, he said, Chengi, vengeance is mine. And then he said something. He said, she has children. And that was it. And at the end of that feeling, it all went away. I was now focused on, okay, what's my next move? What am I gonna do? Where am I gonna stay? I don't have any money. I've got this holiday booked. Who's going to understand that I've got no money and yet I'm going off on a holiday? Who do I ask? So many, I can go through that season of my life and tell you how I seemed to stumble from tragedy to tragedy to tragedy to tragedy. It was like when I shared my story with a group of people, my story is not dissimilar from The Pursuit of Happiness. That when you watch it, it just seems like, will this person have a break? I have had so many people to forgive in my lifetime, and will have people to forgive. And we all have people to forgive. No one will ever ask you and stand on a world stage and preach forgiveness to you unless they've had to forgive stuff that is almost unforgivable. Stuff that no one would blame me for not forgiving. And I have forgiven and continue to forgive because I know this. When God is ready, when that law is ready to activate, the punishment that comes on that person, the reaping. You see, you sow one seed, but from that one seed, a tree grows and a harvest grows, right? It's one seed of hate, one seed of cruelty, one seed. You sow into the ground, you sow one apple seed, but a tree of apples grows. When that law is ready to activate, I have found myself praying for mercy for my enemies. The other day, my mom called me and my sisters called me and they were like, can we have the number for whatever? I didn't have the numbers for that. I'd stopped all connection, stopped everything. I just didn't want them in my life. I didn't want the hate. I didn't want to remember what had happened to me. I just cut it off and I moved on with my life. And I truly forgave and forgot. I think this is probably the first time I've spoken about this for years to anyone. But I'm saying it because sometimes when we say to people, you need to forgive, that people think, oh, look at you, Barbie. You know, what have you had to forgive in your life? They don't know You see, the beauty of God is no matter what people put you through, he has a way of keeping you so that your story is never on your face. Unless I tell you my story and the multiple stories of pain that I've been through, you will never see on my face. I don't even have a wrinkle to show for my pain. Okay, I don't have scars, physical scars, and I don't have a spiritual demeanor about me to share about my pain. But this is what happened. And my mom called me the other day and she told me the calamity that is happening to my aunt and her family. I mean, horrible stuff that I can't even bear to repeat. And I remember getting on my knees and saying, God, have mercy. Show her compassion and show her mercy. Because I thought that the day the revenge would come, I'd be like, whoop, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, come on, Jesus, pay her back. But what she did to me, a fraction, the irony of the way it came back to her, in the amount that it came back to her, the irony of how it came back to her for me was so much of, oh my God, may I never ever treat another human being in a way that I don't want to come back to me, pressed down, shaken together and running over. Don't worry about the guy that has hurt you. Don't worry about the sister, the brother, the person that has hurt you. Pray for them. In fact, fear for them. Have mercy on them. Because let me tell you something. When it comes back to them, that guy who hurt you and moved on without a second thought and found that new girl and brandished her, he hasn't fallen in love yet. He's gonna fall in love the way you fell in love with him, and he's gonna fall in love with a Jezebel. He's gonna fall in love with a woman whose intentions and whose heart for him are exactly the same and worse, because remember, the harvest is bigger than the seed. He's going to meet his match in the opposite. And she's gonna lie, and she's gonna sneak, and she's gonna manipulate, and she's gonna get exactly what she wants, and she is going to abandon him. And when you see him again broken, honey, you will feel sorry for him. You will pray for him, and you won't be able to take him back because you'd have moved on and found love, and you will be in a whole different place. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Unless that person gets up and says, I am sorry. You see, when you reap a heart, when you do something to hurt somebody and they come back and they say, I'm sorry, and truly mean it and do what it takes for you to feel better, do you know that the law is nullified? Because the Bible says, go, put down whatever you've done to your brother or sister and make it better. Why? Because when we go and make it better, we nullify, we neutralize that law so that it doesn't come back to us. When you hurt somebody, if you're watching this video and you've hurt somebody and you've mistreated somebody and you've been evil to somebody, go and make it better. Go and say sorry, because sorry and the humility of saying sorry is never going to be as much as the reaping of that act. Because when you're reaping that act, when you are reaping it, you will wish you had the thing in you to say, look, I was selfish, I was self-centered, and I am sorry. Sometimes we hurt people unknowingly unto us, and the spirit realm knows that it wasn't intentional to hurt them. It was out of ignorance, out of stupidity, and the reward will not be as harsh as somebody who does it deliberately. Don't waste your time. Please don't waste your time. I have seen God, all the people who have hurt me, I have seen God do stuff. I have seen those people come to me, look up to me, need something from me when they treated me like something that they pulled off, something that stepped on under their shoe and pulled it off. They treated me like I was nothing. But Joseph's brothers, one day, after having sold him to be a slave in Egypt, one day they knelt before him. Let me tell you something. Trust in God and trust in the laws that he's put in place. You don't need to make yourself all kinds of ugly. You don't need to embrace ugly. You don't need to embrace pain. You don't need to embrace what that person has done until you are an ugly, bitter, twisted person. And then nobody wants you because you're carrying so much grudges, so much pain, so much hurt. People look at me and say, Chengi, how come you don't look your age? Because I stay beautiful inside. I don't let darkness have room. I don't permit it. I want it to. Sometimes it feels good to, but I don't let it live in me because I want to live. So I am telling you this, girl. Stop asking me how you can revenge. Stop going on YouTube channels to find ways of revenge. I have tricks. I can tell you tricks. But if you can just walk away like a lady, stack your spine, take your stand, trust God, and let it go, baby girl, you will be the last one standing. And he who laughs last laughs hardest. But you won't be laughing. You won't be rejoicing. You're going to feel sorry for those who hurt you. So that's from me to you, saying, girls, trust in something bigger, better than you. You don't need to revenge. You need to keep on moving. Yeah, keep on moving. Woo! And the sooner you learn to do that, the better. Okay, so that's from me to you, Chengi's World. Love you so much for joining me, guys. Love you, love you, love you. I'll see you on Instagram and Facebook. And see you soon. Mwah. Bye now.